Hello and welcome to the third tutorial of the FrameNet Brazil Web Annotation tool. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to annotate for frames, right? So we're going to hit annotation, and before you do any sort of annotation, you try to do any sort of annotation, it's important for the first time you're accessing the WebTool in your account to hit the Manage Layers option. So here you see that there are many different options for annotation. So frame element, the target, the grammatical function, the phrase type, and all of them. Before you get used to the possibilities and to all sorts of layers, my recommendation is that you hit all of them, save, and then the tool is going to show you the relevant layers for each kind of annotation. So for example, in FrameNet Brazil, we use universal dependencies, part of speech and relations to annotate constructions, but not for frames, for lexical items. So they are not going to be displayed in the lexical annotation I'm about to show you, right? So we're going to annotate for test the verb, right? But instead of showing you the frame mode in which you can search a lexical unit here, for example, test, and then you get all the frames in which test is a LU or part of an LU. Remember that we are annotating for test frame. I'm going to show you the corpus mode because then you can annotate for any lexical unit you want, and the procedure is pretty much the same, right? And also for the corpus mode, it's easier because you can just upload corpus in the form of a document with a list of sentences for that lexical unit that you want, or a list of constructs licensed by a construction, or even a full text and annotate for the genre or for the properties of that genre in whichever level you want, right? So I'm going to hit corpus mode, and previously I had already created a corpus called the corpus test frame annotation, and I created a document, right? To create both a corpus and a document, what you must do is, of course, use the structure menu and hit corpus. This is going to be the object of another video that is going to be uploaded to the tutorial channel. But for now, let's focus on the annotation. So when you hit the document test, you have two sentences that I have created, no bias here. So I want to test the FrameNet Brazil web tool, and after testing the tool, I think it's awesome. So basically what happens is when you click the sentence, it's going to open a new tab and you can do the annotation in this new tab, right? So pay attention to the fact that each sentence has a ID number, right? So 118410. It's important to keep track of this number, or when you are assigned the number of sentence as sentence ID, because you can just type this number here, and when you hit annotate sentence, then the window is going to open, the new tab is going to open with your sentence. So we want to annotate for test. So what I want to do here is I'm going to right click at any point of this word test, okay? So you will see that all the lexical units are listed here, right, which have this word form test associated to the lemma composing the lexical unit. But I want to annotate for the test frame 01 that I have created. So I select this one and I hit save. Okay? Choosing the frame requires knowing the frames. So that's why we list all of them. If in case you have doubts, you just go back to the structure menu or to the report menu, read the frame, and then you can decide which is the sense of that lexical item in the sentence you are annotating for. So remember that I have only created one frame element for that frame, okay? So which was frame element 01. So let's say that the FrameNet Brazil web tool is the frame element 01. So what I did here, I'm going to do it again, is that I clicked in the first word, and then I clicked in the last word of the phrase. Remember that FrameNet annotation is phrase based, it annotates the valence of a lexical unit. So then I right click on the first layer, which is the frame element layer here, and then I choose frame element 1. See that now you have frame element 1 annotated for the first layer, and you have here a red shadow in the sentence, meaning that this sentence has a change made to it that wasn't saved, right? And then when you click the grammatical function layer, so remember that FrameNet annotates for not only the semantic affordances of LUs, but also how they are instantiated in terms of grammatical functions and phrase types, right? So in the grammatical function, I'm going to choose object, again, right click, and then left click in the selected grammatical function, and then right click in the phrase type. This is a noun phrase, here it is, right? And then I have the annotation, okay? But let's imagine that, for example, the frame element 01 wasn't instantiated in the sentence anywhere, but it's inferred through the context, or it's licensed by a construction. Anyway, it's nully instantiated. I can just left click the NI here, and then I can choose the instantiation type between a construction null instantiation, or a definite null instantiation, or an indefinite null instantiation, or the incorporation of that frame element. Okay? So what you need to do is just to choose the sort of instantiation and then set NI, right? The other layer for verbs, it's usually used for marking the antecedent of a relative pronoun or existential subject or no subject or some sort of special mark. The verb layer marks specificities of verbs. So for English, if this verb has an aspectual or non-aspectual particle, and the sentence layer marks some sort of note on that sentence, okay? The important thing about this WebTool is that everything here can be customized, okay? So you can customize the layers, what labels are in the layers, and everything else. And this is going to be the subject of another tutorial, which is layer customization, okay? But this is pretty much the basics for annotation. I'm not able to save because my set language for this tool is Brazilian Portuguese, so I can read things in English but not save them, but I could change it with my admin profile to the sort of language I'm allowed to save. Okay, so this is it, and in the next tutorial I'm going to show you how to create a corpus and a document, and then how to customize the layers.